So we have an outer for loop here that executes exactly 3 times. Range will be I will be 0, then it'll be 1, then it'll be 2. And then within that, we fix a while loop to be true, and we allow the user to input a test score. If the score is valid, if the score is between 0 and 100, it will add that score to total score. Notice again that we initialize total score before we do anything at all. Otherwise, we're going to get an error on this line. And so it will go through, because of the outer for loop, this while loop will terminate if they keep entering invalid scores. Once they enter in their third valid score, this is going to be false, because I is going to be, it won't be less than 3, it will be 3. So let's try this, and let's use their same output. So we actually have quite a few nested. We have the while, and then we have another if else at the third level. Here, let's try this. Okay, let's use the test scores that they use on the screen. Let's enter an invalid test score. We'll say 110. And it gives us the error message. So let's enter another invalid number. We'll say -10. Gives us the error message again, reminding us that the score must always be between 0 and 100. So let's enter 3 valid scores. 100 is a valid score. 90 is a valid score.
贷款的那个总金额以及月还款度我们 check 过了吗？
We can hear you. Okay, so
我check 它有没有算错？
all it does is it adds 3 scores up to get 190.
市场的银行不太靠谱。
Yeah, would you mind muting your mic, please? We can hear your conversation.
讲它太靠谱。
I don't think I can find you. Maybe that was you. Okay, so it doesn't matter how many invalid scores that you enter. We could enter 5, 6, 10 invalid scores, and it's not going to execute it's not going to increment or go through this outer for loop. It's only while you enter a valid score. This is what happens with invalid scores. Okay, it just does this else, and it starts over at the top of while. Okay, because the Boolean condition for while is always true. We're only going to get out of this while loop when they enter a valid score. So because the while loop is nested within this outer for is always going to go execute with 3 valid scores. So note that this is kind of a early prototype of what your exercise will be. I believe I give you a starting program in this exercise as well. So we'll take a look at that in about 10, 15 minutes. Okay, so notice a couple of other things. This, even though this is a very simple program, is not so easy to understand, particularly without any documentation. In fact, I had to run it. I just ran it a couple of hours ago. I had to run it again to refresh my memory, which is not so surprising. But when you have, the point I'm trying to make, the nesting of for and while and ifs like this have a lot of utility, can really help you you got to think it through. And more often than not, you're gonna goof it up the first time you try it. So again, a way to audit what you've done is to put in print statements. This is a very rudimentary way to check the progress of your program, is to have it print out the values of things, like I did in that future value program. So you can see whether it's working, whether it's actually incrementing each year. You don't want to write a program just like this that doesn't tell you what's going on. Okay. So again, it's the break statement here in the if statement that jumps out of the inner while loop. Okay. So that's what that does. And this slide introduces a new operator that actually isn't used in this slide. It's used in the next slide. It's called the walrus operator. And what the walrus operator does, it does two things. It assigns a value, but it also is a proxy for a conditional statement. So as we'll see in the next slide in just a second, you'll assign a value and you'll test whether it's true or not at the same time. Okay. An assignment expression, which is what this is called, is a statement that assigns a value to a variable and a Boolean expression that compares the variable with a value. And this thing is called a walrus operator because if you turned it on its side, it kind of looks like a walrus. Looks like the eyes and tusk of a walrus if you tilt your head to the side. Okay, so again, all this on this slide, all this example is doing is running an infinite loop to process user data. Okay, so the first line of code, we're prompting the user, if you want to get out of this, enter -1, print this little banner of hyphens, equal signs, I guess. And then we go into this infinite while loop. All this will do every time the person enters a score, it'll print the score back out. Okay, and just do that over and over and over again, like that hello program that we saw earlier. If the person wants to get out of it, they enter in a -1, and that will cause this Boolean condition to be true and therefore execute this break clause, which gets out of the infinite while loop. Okay, so let's try this one. This would be 38, I guess. We're getting near the bottom. Okay, so again, all this does, prompts the user, tells the user, if you want to get out of this, enter -1, otherwise enter a score. Does not do any score checking, I believe. Just keeps repeating back the score until the user enters the what I call the sentinel value, -1, that causes the break statement to execute, and it gets out of this altogether. Okay, well, so why did we show a walrus operator, which is actually an assignment expression, in the context of this example? Because we use it on the next slide. And this is a good example of why not, either NOT or not equal to here, can be very confusing. Okay, so this thing does the exact same thing that the other program does. Prompts the user to enter -1 when they want to end, prints this banner. And then here in the yellow, highlighted in the yellow, is the assignment operator. So remember what happens with whiles. Whiles only continue to execute when the statement is true. Okay, so what are we doing here? And notice with the assignment operator, you must put the assignment operator within parentheses. This may look like we have an extra set of parentheses. Why can't we just say score without this one and this one? Well, because it wouldn't work. It wouldn't know it's an assignment operator. So the assignment operator is this, but is this whole thing actually. But to make this true, right, we're saying while it's not equal to -1. So maybe this is kind of a fine point, but you really want them to enter -1, right? And if you look under the hood of this code, it appears to me anyway that something should happen when they enter anything but -1, but that's not what it means, because you are negating an already false statement. So that makes this true. Okay, that was kind of a long-winded way to say this whole thing, score gets instantiated to the value of -1, but also this conditional expression will be true because you have, this means not equal to. Okay, again, just kind of confusing. And again, this works. This is just like the slide. This part, again, not to be too redundant, but it's confusing. Okay, so we run this, does the same thing, ask for a score. You can enter any score you want, any number of scores that you want, keeps going around and around in this while loop. And it's only when you invoke the assignment expression with the walrus operator that it becomes, let's try this again. I told you I got confused. It becomes it becomes false. No, it becomes true, right? No, when you enter -1, excuse me a minute. When you enter -1, this becomes false, so it ends. Okay, and again, if I misspoke somewhere along the line there, and I think I did, that makes my point. These things are a little spooky. Okay, so that brings us to the end of our slides. Let's see, we've got, see how we're doing on time. We've got a couple of Python programs here. Maybe take a look at them quickly. Okay. This is related. Okay, so this, what does this program do? This is test scores, and you've got it in your programs folder. This is instructive for your exercise. Test scores, it's this one, I believe. And if we run it, right, it tells you enter 999 to end the input. So if we enter well-behaved data like this, 85, 95, 155, which is not well-behaved, it catches the 155 and it discards that score and asks you to try again. So we say 75, which is well-behaved, and then we want to quit. So I say 999, and it just totals them up and divides by 3. And so the average score is 85. So what's going on in this program?